What's up, gamers? It's your girl here to tell you about my favorite game, Dungeons and Dragons. Now I know what you're thinking, isn't that nerd game? But let me tell you.
Hey, are we sure about this?
Why wouldn't we?
I'm not sure I want the first of these videos to open with the words, "What's up, gamers?"
You gotta cultivate a brand. Also, put some boobs in the thumbnail.
Well, it's not 2010 and we're not 14, but also, like, I realize you're, like, a capital G gamer or whatever, but, like, are we sure that the world actually needs another video defending, like, the merits of D&D? Like, BuzzFeed probably already has, like, 3 of those.
Only 2.
Oh, well, never mind, let's forge ahead then.
Plus, you've been playing D&D for, like, a decade now. Like, write what you know.
Yeah, but, like, D&D isn't even that good.
Excuse me?
It's not!
Is this like a D&D is for nerds thing?
Jade, I've literally watched the Lord of the Rings Extended Edition trilogy with multiple different commentary tracks, like each of them in a single sitting.
So you can see how I might expect you to be all over something like D&D.
It's really bad as an actual role-playing game. Like, every session of D&D is like 2 hours of combat and then like 20 minutes of actually telling a story.
Combat isn't a story?
I mean, sure, if how does this fight turn out is the only story you're interested in hearing about, then, like, by all means, go ahead and play D&D. I'm just saying that for every Free Fire, there's about a few hundred movies that aren't Free Fire.
You've had great experiences telling stories through D&D. Remember Darla, or Loki, or Grub? Those are all characters whose emotions and experiences were reflected through the combat of playing D&D.
Loki was designed to be a non-combat character, though. Like, I was already looking for ways, even back then, to tell non-combat-based stories.
And you got it, because D&D isn't just about combat. There's rules for social interaction, for adventuring, for...
Look at this character sheet, and tell me it isn't built for things that are mostly combat.
There's a section right there for character traits. Right there!
It's not systematized in any way. It's an afterthought. And if most of your systems are built around combat, most of your gameplay is going to be built around combat too.
I'm very sorry this game doesn't mesh to your exact needs and specifications.
But there are games that do!
Oh god, I just set you up for some bull.
Okay, first of all, let's keep the channel clean, but also you have no idea. The industry has never been richer than right now with games that are built around story, games where you can tell interesting and rich and emotionally dense stories in hours, where combat and fighting can be resolved in seconds.
Okay, I get there's some indie games that are more your speed, but I mean, that's the case with any medium. Like, there's almost certainly a bunch of indie bands that you like more than the top 40, but that's because the top 40 are designed to have a broad appeal rather than a depthful one, and they get super popular for a specific reason.
But at least people are aware that indie music exists. Nobody knows about indie RPG.
RPGs are already niche. D&D is already a niche game.
Everybody has heard of D&D, even if they don't know what it is. But nobody knows that there are other games out there in the medium. It's a bad analog to pop music in that way.
I don't think that any of this obviates my point about story games not having the same kind of broad appeal as D&D does.
If D&D is more popular than every other game in its medium by a cosmic margin, that gives it more of an obligation to lift up smaller creators, not less.
But it doesn't, because it's not incentivized to do so. That's a structural problem. It doesn't sound like you have a problem with D&D, it sounds like you have a problem with capitalism.
I can't have a problem with both.
I'm just saying that if your big problem with D&D is that games that aren't D&D don't get enough attention, you might not actually hate D&D.
I don't hate D&D.
It sounds like you hate D&D. Is that Pathfinder? See, that's not even D&D.
Every time you tell me that Pathfinder doesn't count as D&D in this discussion, I'm gonna flop another D20 based D&D ripoff onto this desk.
Okay, see, this just proves my point though. If you kept playing so much and buying so much, clearly there must have been something there that kept you coming back for more.
Like the promise of finding better games later.
I know you bought those 4E games after you'd already started playing story games.
They were on deep discounts.
What, like you never had any fun playing any of the combat sections?
Not as much fun as I could have been having.
I mean, sure, if you were looking for a story game, then D&D probably wasn't what you were looking for, but I bet you anything that if you were there looking for a tactical combat minis game, D&D would have been perfect for you. In fact, I bet the reason why you bought 4E after after you had already started buying all of these story games is because you knew that if you played the tactical miniatures portion of D&D, you would have a great time playing it as a strategy game through the encounters.
Okay, first of all, how dare you read me that well?
No, I'm right. D&D is a good game, it's just that it's not a good role-playing game.
I mean, okay, let's not act like D&D is like a perfect game even just by a combat simulationist perspective. Like, the overt racism that got baked into the 70s by the crusty white guys who made it never really got flushed out, and the core gameplay loop is basically just overt colonialism.
I'm not gonna touch that one.
Probably wise.
But if millions of people have great
you are
times
touching
with
it.
this game, are you gonna be the one to tell them that they're wrong about that? Millions of people love this, and buddy, they're all valid.
That's not my point.
I mean, thousands of people use this game as stepping stones to get to the very games that you're excited. Almost everyone who's in that hobby, including you.
That's not what I'm saying.
I mean, heck, I've had great experiences with this game that have meant a lot to me and have forged connections that have lasted me years and decades even. I mean, are you telling me that's wrong? Don't go around yucking other people's yums.
I don't want to get your yum. I don't want to get your yum. I couldn't care less if you love D&D. Great, love it. Can we please make a video about any other topic? Open up any other piece of conversation. No one else is talking about anything out there, and there's so much.
I think we did just make another video about D&D.
Oh, God damn.
But you told me to keep the channel clean, so. What else would you even make a video about?
I'm so glad you asked.
Oh no. There are nigh unlimited games in the indie RPG space which place a real focus on storytelling over combat and on narrative over fighting. You may have even heard of some of the bigger ones like Monster Hearts and Fiasco, but there are also thousands of truly indie games which are both incredible and place money directly into the hands of creators in a community full of marginalized people who desperately need that income. So, for example, Exodus is a game by Erika about trans angels on the run in a fascist dystopia. It creates stories about community and hope and fear and oppression and love. Hell Train is a game by Frankie Garza in which you play as a group of mostly innocent children who have been, by no fault of your own, placed on a train directly into literal hell, and you have to escape. It's literally $2, and so are all of her other games. Princess World is a game by Petker, in which you play as all different kinds of princesses, you know, skateboard princesses, pirate princesses, alien princesses, inspired by the advice of his 6-year-old daughter. Its truths mechanic is one of the coolest things that I have ever seen in any RPG. Chimera is a game about blending settings together where you might be playing as a magical girl character next to a horror protagonist character, playing in a superhero universe against a high fantasy antagonist. You never know what kind of a game you're gonna get. And there are literally thousands of these games out here, all of them exploring different ideas. I literally just picked like the first 4 that I could think of by creators with less Twitter followers than me. I'm also making a game for what it's worth. It's called Scherzando, and it's a musical tabletop role-playing game about things going explosively wrong in which you play both the characters and the soundtrack. No musical experience necessary, available for pre-order right now. So, if you want to play D&D, great. Go for it. Go ahead. But be aware that you have other options, and if you want to tell a story about your gay tiefling, there are other places you can do it. But, you know, whatever you choose is fine. It's just a game. Toxic bros who make up the face of the D&D hobby are still real bad though, right?
Oh, fuck gamers.